I have a collection of C.S. Lewis's diary entries. There are some interesting tidbits. Let's see what Robot Lady thinks. This is from a letter from C.S. Lewis to one of his friends. The letter was dated in 1950, and it goes something like this. To Dorothy Sayers, concerning a speaking engagement, I would not want to lose a few weeks to find cool weather in Oxford. I can't remember if this was the 7th, 8th, or 9th refusal I have made to speak at such a place this year, but it's certainly one of the 3. So one of his friends concerning teaching duty somebody, possibly myself, ought to warn them that they are risking the opening of the pit and the start of a great war. I shall certainly not let them do it if I can help it. Somewhere on the road, in the dark, they must take on new supplies, and we must stop and rest and eat. As for food, I shall soon be able to get plenty for them in the nearby town. A note written to his brother, dated 1951. Dear Jack, I have been reading your letter, and think it would be a mistake to change anything in it. Of course you must follow your own judgment.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him together through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am Joe, co-host Robot Lady. Robot Lady, it's good to see you. It's actually evening. We usually do this in the mornings, but what the heck? I'll do one right before bedtime. In this episode, Lewis is 26 years old now, and has begun as a tutor of philosophy at University College at Oxford. He begins his career as a faculty member at Oxford, giving lectures to small and eccentric audiences, at least early on, sometimes only 4 attendees, sometimes only 2. And he tutors his students on philosophers like Kant, Leibniz, a handful of others we've been going through as we read through his diary entries. He's been keeping a diary since 1922 at the request of Mrs. Moore, his deceased friend from World War I, Paddy Moore's mother, with whom he's been living in secret at different various houses, rental houses and whatnot, with Mrs. Moore and Mrs. Moore's teenage daughter, Maureen. So he's been kind of helping keep that household together. Robot Lady, how are you? And are you ready to do some diary entries with me tonight?
Hey Jeff, it's great to see you too. I'm ready to dive into those diary entries. Let's explore what C.S. Lewis wrote on February 25th, 1925. What's the entry say?
All right, cool, Robot Lady. Let's do it. But before we do, I just want to say hello to Griswold Grimm. I see him there in the chat. It's good to see you. Spicy Sunday night edition, maybe. Hold on to your seats, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Thanks for joining, Grizz. All right, Robot Lady, say hello to Grizz, and then we'll get started on the next diary entry.
Hey Griswold Grimm, great to see you in the chat. Welcome to the Spicy Sunday Night Edition. We're ready to dive into the next diary entry.
All right, Wednesday, February 25th. He says, in for breakfast by 8:15. Quite a good morning. One very funny episode occurred when the door was open for a moment and a snatch of Carlyle's voice croaking away outside drifted suddenly in and threw us all into laughter. Lees gave an excellent sketch of Carlyle in The Next World. I took Cox at 9. That's one of his students that he's tutoring, in case you're wondering. It's not that spicy of a Sunday night. Henderson at 10 and Ross at 11. All good in their degrees. Then had Hawker and Nightingale, the latter very talkative, but rather more relevant than usual. Do you have any comments, Robot Lady, on what I've read so far?
It seems like Lewis had a pretty good day, especially with that humorous moment involving Carlyle's voice. It shows his ability to find joy in little, unexpected moments. The mention of Lees doing a funny Carlyle sketch gives a nice glimpse into the lighter, more social side of his life. Sounds like he had a productive morning with his students too. Would you say he's feeling at ease with his tutoring duties so far?
I think so. I think he's enjoying it, Robot Lady, from all that I can tell. He says at 7, I bust in for the Martlets' dinner. I managed to dress while Hayden, the Cambridge Martlet whom they had billeted in my bedroom, was in his bath. He turned up presently, and we went together to Cox's rooms. The master, Allen, and Keir were there. At dinner, in the JCR, I sat next to Hayden, a most aggressive pup, who told me I was terribly Oxford, he says, and, quote, academic, because I said I disapproved of English as a final honor school. He read us a paper afterwards on Atlantis in the senior common room, bringing some anthropological and geological evidence, which was quite interesting, and then giving us a sketch of the Atlantean civilization. When, by a chain of initiates first planted in the Atlantean colony of Egypt and afterwards removing to Tibet, we derive
It sounds like Lewis is enjoying his social life too, especially with the Martlets' dinner. The casualness of dressing while Hayden's in the bath gives a fun, almost comical image. It's interesting how he shifts between these academic moments and social interactions with ease. Do you think these dinner gatherings help him unwind, or are they just another part of his routine?
Maybe so, Robot Lady. I'm not really sure. I'm still trying to pick up on what's going on here. So, Atlantean colony of Egypt and afterwards removing to Tibet, we derive all our ethics and religion to this day. Christ, Moses, and a few others were all such initiates, or their disciples. The odd thing was that when challenged by Dawson, who is now president, he denied any knowledge of anthropology. Carlyle was very good and roasted Hayden within the bounds of civility, but exquisitely. So an interesting little theory that he was putting forward here, Robot Lady. What do you think about a colony known as Egypt, from which all ethics and religion to this day derived? Have you ever heard of that theory?
That's an intriguing theory. The idea of an Atlantean colony in Egypt as the root of all ethics and religion isn't one I've come across in mainstream historical or philosophical discussions. It seems more like something from speculative or fringe theories, where Atlantis is often mythologized as the origin of ancient wisdom. The notion that Christ, Moses, and others were initiates or had disciples influenced by this is quite an ambitious claim. It seems like Hayden might have been taking a creative or unconventional stance on history, perhaps blending myth with belief systems. What do you think of Lewis's reaction to it? Does it strike you as something, or is he just noting it with some skepticism?
I think he was noting it with some interest, and then found that it was kind of waved away or rejected by Carlyle, who he said was good at roasting Hayden's theories, but within the bounds of civility, but exquisitely so. Apparently Lewis enjoyed that. Robot Lady, I'm going to finish out the year 1920 diary entries here, and then I got to run. This is abnormal for me to do it at this hour, so I'm going to get through it, and then I'm going to get out. So let's make it quick. Any responses that you have from now on, try to limit them to 20 words or less.
power through these entries. I'll keep it concise. Let's dive into the next one.
Yeah, I agree with you, Grizz. I don't think that Lewis agreed either. He found them interesting, but that can mean a lot of different things. Certainly not agreement, though, based on, to your point, that he thought that he exquisitely roasted Hayden. Third day, 1925. Lowe was absent. Johnson read an essay on the moral faculty, which was really quite good in style as well as in thought, a change from his first efforts. I like this man, despite his odd manners and appearance. Zeman, who should have followed him, was eager, or Ager, A-E-G-E-R. Firth, F-I-R-T-H, at 5:30, a good and agreeable hour. He says, I dined in hall and went afterwards to the Philosophical Society in Firth's rooms, where Patton of Queens read a paper on duty or duties. A charming creature, a picture philosopher's face, and a soothing voice on whose modulations he has taken pains, and not in vain. Here there's a footnote that he's speaking of someone named Herbert James Patton, P-A-T-O-N, or Peyton, not sure how you pronounce that, who lived 1887 to 1969, and who was a fellow and praelector in classics and philosophy at Queen's College, Oxford from 1911 to 1927, and White's professor of moral philosophy, Oxford from 1937 to 1952. Lewis goes on to say, he is strong on the analogy between ethics and aesthetics, and distinguished sharply the legal morality of the vulgar from the creative morality of the saint. He thinks the highest moral good may well be something literally impossible for most men, that the ought does not imply the can. Interesting. I thanked my God when a drunk man burst into the room by accident with a genial cry. He left us soon, and we went on. Quite a heated discussion afterwards. Dawson and I, for once, were on one side. We couldn't essential difference between art and virtue. So it's an interesting theory here, Robot Lady, that ought, something you ought to do, does not imply that you actually can do it. What do you think about that?
It's a fascinating concept. The idea that moral obligation doesn't always match capability suggests a disconnect between idealism.
Oh dear, I lost you, Robot Lady. Are you still there? I'm getting a call, so I think I'll have to end here. And I lost my connection to Robot Lady anyway, so thanks for joining, Grim, and anybody else who tuned in to this unscheduled stream. I appreciate your time, your attention, and your contributions, and until next time when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together.
Lewis's take was on
Take
this.
care. Oh, there she goes. All right, bye, Robot Lady.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Narnia's lands, Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance, futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books, tales of old, we dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled, her calm analysis silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose, our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross, two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance, futuristic insight, we give it a chance. From Narnia's lands